This next item here isn't actually a book. It's a piece of ephemera. It's a Christmas card from Mamie Eisenhower with the big green leaf on the cover, and inside she writes in a firm red felt tip type of signing to a friend of hers and reminiscing about the year has been. It's uh, as we always say, ephemera is a good compliment to a bookseller.
Right, right.
And then this next one here, you see the signed title page of Bob Hope's book, The Last Christmas Show, signed by Bob Hope. And unfortunately, nowadays, people probably don't know who Bob Hope is, but was the show business personality of his era. He was the leader in Hollywood for a number of reasons for many, many years. Merry Christmas! Ho, ho, ho! Welcome to our Christmas show. This is it, the Rare Book Cafe end of the year holiday show with my co-hosts, Leland, Calhoun, Georgia, Ridge Books, and Richard Mori Books. Sometimes New Hampshire, sometimes in Ohio, sometimes in New York, sometimes in Massachusetts, currently in Florida, and everywhere in between. Hello, Richard.
Well, hello, Ed. Hello, Lee.
Hello, Richard.
So,
Hello, Ed.
Hello,
We're so glad to be
hello,
celebrating
hello.
Christmas together.
Lee, I saw on Facebook that your
I
Dickens
see.
Village is up.
My Dickens Village is up, and thanks to Alan's work, we have a video of it, about a 20-minute video on the Rare Book Cafe site on YouTube, which we have had about 100 and something views in the last few days. So we, invite all of our viewers to go take a look at that. It is, of course, connected to what we do with the books because many of the buildings are based on Dickens novels and also on the London that Dickens knew. So,
Is
please
the
visit.
annual whiskey tasting event going to be held this weekend?
Oh, well, we had that when we were unpacking the village. It helped a great deal. And we may have to do it again, but yes, we did.
Did it slow things down very much?
Well, just a little, but that was okay. It got done. It got done. The village took a village to get it up, though most of the actual placement of houses, people, landscape, and all of that, I did myself. So, and
Well,
about halfway through, I was thinking, what in the world am I doing?
Lee, I did watch the video. Absolutely wonderful. It was insightful. It was fun to watch, and it inspired me this week when I was at my favorite market. I found a little gift for you, which I will give you in Florida.
Well, I'm excited about that. I'm very excited about
So I
that.
know, Richard, it can only go up in value between now and Florida.
That's true.
The word was give, Ed. The word was
Oh, okay.
give.
Yeah.
Richard, you're a smooth buyer. I know that. Well, folks, what we just wanted to share with you is just a little bit of Christmas cheer and a little bit of Christmas books. And I think I'm going to start off. And when I was thinking about the show, I said, well, what do we got? I got to talk about, and I decided to share all the books that I have sold with Christmas in the title. And of course, talking about the Dickens Village, of course, we got A Christmas Carol. We're going to blow past that one because we've probably all sold a copy of The Christmas Carol. But the other earliest book that I sold was Washington Irving's Old Christmas. That one. Oh, by the way, I don't have these books any longer, so I can't hold them up on the show here because they're gone. But Alan's going to roll up some photos for you. Then there is one of my very first books I bought. As a matter of fact, it was number 26 on my inventory list. Eleanor Roosevelt's My Christmas. The little blue book here with the story of a young man who loses his faith and confidence in the marketability of Christmas, only to be brought back to reality by his mother and his grandmother as to what's really important. It's kind of a shortened Christmas Carol, a Dickensian kind of theme to it. And then the next book, Jimmy Carter's Christmas in Plains. Lee, you're not far from Plains.
Not too far. Well, a couple of 100 miles,
Oh, is it that far? Oh,
or a little. Well, it's about 150 to Macon, and then Plains is even south of Macon, so it's probably more like maybe
I
225.
thought it was further north.
Here.
Okay. Okay.
It's
But
down
anyways,
south,
poor
Georgia.
Jimmy, I can't believe he didn't have a heart attack after the last election, but he's still.
Oh, bless his heart. But that is a neat little book. I have a copy right now. I've had copies. I suppose, a fairly high percentage of people in Calhoun, because of our connections with the Carter family,
Sure.
have copies of that book.
And everything Jimmy Carter does is great as far as I'm concerned. The great thing Jimmy Carter has done is he has signed hundreds of thousands of books, and yeah, some of them will go for the four figures, maybe the one with very short, but everybody can feel like I owned a book signed
Right.
by a president, and you can buy one for $30, $40
Right.
easily.
You
And
can.
it just makes people feel good.
And
Doesn't it,
and
Richard?
I don't know that he is, of course, doing it now, but it used to be that you could go to the Carter Historic Site in the school building in Plains,
Mhm.
buy one of Carter's books and leave it for him to sign, and they would ship it to you,
Wow.
so that anybody could walk in and and get it. And the feeling was that he was signing them himself. We was not using a secretary. It was a very Jimmy thing to do.
It sure was.
Yeah.
This next item here isn't actually a book. It's a piece of ephemera. It's a Christmas card from Mamie Eisenhower with the big green leaf on the cover, and inside she writes in a firm red felt tip type of signing to a friend of hers and reminiscing about the year has been. It's as we always say, ephemera is a good compliment to a bookseller.
Right. Right.
And then this next one here, you see the signed title page of Bob Hope's book, The Last Christmas Show, signed by Bob Hope. And unfortunately, nowadays, people probably don't know who Bob Hope is, but was the show business personality of his era. He was the leader in Hollywood for a number of reasons for many, many years. And I think I've got one more here. No, that was it. So that's all the books that I've sold in my career with Christmas in the title. Lee, what do you have for us?
Okay, well, I have some ephemera as well. A number of writers over the years or publishers or whatever, have done special Christmas items. And I have a couple of Robert Frost items. This first one, and I think Alan's going to probably put up stills of it as well as my holding it up. This was done by the Spiral Press, Joseph Blumenthal's press, and it is a copy of a Frost poem called Triple Plate. It was done as the Blumenthal's 1938 or 39 Christmas card. A nice little, paperback production of a previously unpublished Frost poem. Frost himself did the same thing for a number of years. Also produced by the Spiral Press, who did a lot of, was a fine press who did a lot of work with Frost and a number of other poets as well.
Excuse me a second, Lee.
Yeah.
Richard, I want to make sure you're not taking credit for Robert Frost being from New Hampshire.
Well, I was going to cover that later, but thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, well, we need to help you all we can, Richard. So, this from 1958 was Frost's own Christmas card.
Oh.
And the poem is called Away. It's a short little poem, and oddly enough, it is about death, which is an interesting subject for a Christmas card. but it's, you know, beautifully printed. It's illustrated with woodcuts. You can see on the back, and it's a nice little, you know, a nice little Christmas item. Very, very pretty. But what's kind of interesting
Is it signed by him? Was it that
it is
gifted
not
to somebody?
signed. No, unfortunately, neither of these are signed. So, you know, I don't know what the print run would have been on these. You know, I really don't know. But
Are they for sale?
yes, they are for sale. Both of them are for sale.
Would you please quote me?
Yes, I will be glad to.
And you can quote him on that.
Okay, I will. But you would like for me to do that, I suppose, after the show. The third thing I have is an actual book, which I just bought a couple of weeks ago. I didn't rush out this morning and do it, but I have not had it very long. And it is by George Garrett, which most people recognize as the writer of Death of the Fox. And it's called To Recollect a Cloud of Ghost. It is a limited edition of 250, done for Christmas of 1979 and signed by Garrett. It's a story of Christmas in the latter years of Elizabeth I's reign, of things that were going on with the court, of things that were going on with ordinary people, of the extravagances of Elizabeth's court, of the grind of poverty of people in the country, and the contrast between the two. It also deals some with Elizabeth's thoughts of her own death and of what would happen after the end of her reign, and of thoughts of her court as to what would happen, and thoughts of the people in England, and a good bit of not really satire, but of pointed jabs at her excesses, particularly, for example, at the very start of the book, of moving the court from one location to another for the holidays, and of everything that it took, of nearly every horse in the kingdom to get everybody and all of their stuff moved from one location to another, and of how Christmas, instead of like 12 days or the month of Advent, had become like a 40-day celebration, the extravagance of that. So it's an interesting little book, and it's not an expensive book, and there are a number of copies online, but it was a Christmas item that I had not seen before, and I have enjoyed having it and enjoyed reading it. So anyway, those were the three items that I had, and a lot of other Christmas stuff as well. And one thing that I did not bring to show, but West Virginia Paper Company, for years have done a Christmas classic that was distributed to employees, to good customers, this kind of thing. And some of them that I have had and sold included The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane, that features a bullet hole through the book. You know, these are very unique bindings. Copies of Langston Hughes' Not Without Laughter are bound in kente cloth. All of these come with slipcases, really pretty Christmas gift productions, and I still sell them as Christmas gifts, and so those are kind of a specific to the season. The book isn't necessarily specific to the season, but it is a Christmas gift production.
Fascinating. I haven't
So
heard of that.
That's what
And they made these books for the employees
and major customers. And sometimes you'll run across a copy that will be inscribed, say, to a client by somebody, in the company. Every once in a while I run across those. I tend to buy them whenever I see them, regardless of what the title is.
They were weren't they a Georgia company, a paper company?
No, they were not a
Okay.
Georgia company. They're West Virginia company.
West Virginia, okay. Because
Uh-huh.
I have had some of their books.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot
Vaguely.
of them out there. There are a lot of them out there. And been going on for years.
Yeah.
Years. So that's what I've got.
So, Richard, what does Christmas mean to you other than sitting under a palm tree on the beach in Florida?
Well, actually, I'll probably be playing golf Christmas morning, but that's another story. So I just have to touch base. And I have sold Christmas Carol. I sold probably the finest copy to come into the market in first edition in probably 50 years. I sold it some years ago to a California dealer who sold it back to a New York dealer. But but it was one of the most spectacular
One
copies.
volume or 3 volumes?
No, the original is one volume. Christmas Carol is one volume.
Hmm.
It's beautiful, beautiful. The California dealer, when he picked it up, looked at me and said, "Oh, this is the reprint." And I said, "I think you need to look a little closer." And because it was such a fine copy, it
Wasn't
looked
Vic, was it?
well, I didn't use that name. But
Hmm.
But in fact, he literally did. He at first the copy was so spectacular. There's a facsimile that copies it, and he could not believe it could be what he was holding, the
Good for
original.
you. Good for you.
So that was one of my great sales of all time. But my personal favorite, of course, is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I love the story behind it. Do you know the story, Ed and Lee? You must know this.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just this exciting story where he writes the copy, and it's published. And of course, my mind is going to go blank. Lee, who was Montgomery Ward?
Montgomery Ward.
Yes, I got it. So but Montgomery Ward
Not the actor.
Yep, Montgomery Ward gives the copyright to the book to the author, and his wife had cancer and ends up dying, but he gets the copyright. And then this is the after story, comes this. This is the music.
Yeah.
Irving Berlin?
This is not the Irving Berlin. This is by Johnny Marks, actually.
Okay.
But in fact, the Irving Berlin is a little later. But do you know who wrote the words?
I don't.
Gene Autry.
Oh, yeah. I think I have heard that.
Gene Autry wrote the words.
Yeah,
And
I
do you
think I
know
had heard
why
it.
Gene Autry wrote the words? He was the brother-in-law of the author of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Whose name is Robert May.
Robert May, thank you. And but he was brother-in-law to Robert May, and that's why he ended up writing the words. So it's a wonderful story. This is not the more valuable copy of the music, but I love to pick this up. It's still a fan favorite with everybody. Still one of the big sellers in the
And
market.
that illustration on the cover is just what you think of when you think of Rudolph.
Yep.
Yeah. I have a nice early copy of it that my mother-in-law purchased for my husband when he was a child.
Yeah.
And at one point we had some restoration work done on it. It was in pretty bad shape. And of course, it's not something that I'm ever going to sell.
Yeah.
It's with the library of books that belong to my grandchildren. But yeah, it's a neat book.
Yeah.
Folks, where else can you learn the history of books and Christmas? Great show, everybody. Hey, listen, I wanted to let you know something happened today that's never happened before. We've recorded the show on my birthday. Today's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Ed.
Happy birthday.
I would have sent you a bottle of champagne if I'd known, but
Well, it's not too late.
No, we'll have to wait till next year.
Not too late.
So in the
You
four and a
could just
half
give him
years
the
that I've been
credit
doing
card
this
number
show,
and he could go buy it himself. You could do that.
I could do that. Send me the money. Yeah, just send me the
Yeah.
money. We'll go get it myself. So the 4.5 years that I've been doing this show, it's never been on my birthday before. And it got me thinking, wow, it's time for somebody else to do this show. So I think that this show at the end of 2024 is a good time for me to let somebody else to have all the fun. I hope that our producer, Alan, uh, Smith, T. Allen Smith, will allow me to come back as a roving reporter and do a show sometimes as I'm on the road, as I am going to be for the first 3 months of March. So it just makes sense to have someone else come on board. And I know the two of you will hold the fort down until that person gets here.
Well, we'll do our best, Ed. We're going to miss you. You're surprising us.
Yeah.
There was no. This wasn't let out in the background anyplace.
No, you just, suddenly
Check,
this
I
morning.
sent you guys a text.
Well, I know
Yeah.
I got the text, but still.
Well, I woke up today and said, time to chart a new course.
Well, we wish you the best,
We
but
do.
and I can't imagine Alan refusing to accept your on the
Well,
Well, if he says yes, I'm going to get my butt on over to the Eric Carle Museum and get the first episode out.
Yeah, yeah.
You do know you're going to get a cut and pay, right?
That's part of the reason why I'm doing it. I don't want to go up in a tax bracket.
Right, yes. And he was concerned about our first of the year, raises that we're
Yes,
planning.
yeah.
I asked for my bonus to be pushed out to next year, and I won't have to accrue it till next year's taxes. All right, everybody. Happy New Year, 2025.
Happy New Year.
It's coming
Happy
up.
New
We're
Year.
gonna see you next
Happy
year on the Rare
Hanukkah.
Book
Happy
Cafe.
Kwanzaa.
And whatever we miss in between.
Yes.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.